The only mission of your pitch is to get committed action from the people you're pitching to. And you need to make sure that every slide, every piece of your presentation is tailored towards making the common sense conclusion at the end of your talk be for them to ask, okay, what's next? How do we get involved? So you need to be clear on the objective of your pitch before you get started. Of course, it's to get committed action, but you need to know if you're going to a venture capitalist, how much money you need, or if you're pitching to an accelerator, exactly why you want to be in their program right now. And the reason you need to have this information in your head is because as you're building your presentation, you want every single piece to lead to the conclusion, as I said earlier.
A lot of entrepreneurs make the mistake of talking really fast, not just because they're nervous, of course they will be, but it's actually because there's a short time constraint. A lot of VCs say, okay, you have 10 minutes, give us your pitch. And they speed up really quickly, they start talking really fast, facts, figures, data, and the whole pitch is pretty much a waste because the people that you're pitching to never really got a chance for what you're saying to really sink in and to really feel that, wow, this is a great opportunity, this is a great market, what a genius business model. If you keep throwing information at them, they're not going to be able to really sink it in. And also, if you're going quickly, it's a lot of the times because an entrepreneur assumes that they know a similar amount to what you know about it. Whereas in fact, there's a cognitive bias because the entrepreneur will know 100 times more probably about their specific business than the people you're pitching to. So you really have to slow it down and make sure that they are able to understand the points you're making. Because no matter if you've practiced your pitch 1,000 times, they've never heard it. And so it's just good to remind yourself to slow down and be clear and concise.
On that same note, you want to start talking in your pitch on the broadest level possible. And the reason for this is that if you're talking to a group of venture capitalists or a group of people who are going to decide if you can get into an accelerator, you need to make sure that they all are on the same page and they all understand what you're talking about. If you start talking too broad, it's very easy to go in depth. Then if they ask you, okay, we understand these overhead concepts, now can you please dive deep into something? And then if you get that they're on a more technical level, you can go more into the details and get into the weeds of what's the more nitty-gritty information that some people might not understand. What you really don't want to hear, the worst thing you can hear, is when you explain something slightly technical and everyone on the board or in the group says, oh, that's cool, sounds great. When someone says that, you know they didn't understand a thing that you said. And you must bring it back up to a higher level so that people can actually get what you're saying. Guy Kawasaki is a thought leader in Silicon Valley. He's done lots of work with Apple, and he has just a couple of tips for giving presentations that we think are really helpful. The first is make sure your pitch is 10 slides maximum. And going along with that, make sure the pitch is no longer than 20 minutes. If you go much longer than this, if you're talking to a venture capitalist who has seen dozens, hundreds of pitches, you're very likely to lose their attention span. So it's very, very important to make sure that you keep your pitch short, concise, and to the point. On the same note, you want to use 30-point font. That's the font size we're using here, and that's the smallest you want to go. For the main reason that if you think that you're going to use smaller font or that you need smaller font, then that usually is a bad sign because it means you're trying to fit a lot of text on the screen. And as soon as you flip to a slide with massive amounts of text on the screen, one of two things is going to happen. Either the audience is going to look at the screen and instantly shut it out because they're going to say, wow, this is way too much information. This is not what I can take in. And they're just going to tune you out and get bored and maybe start checking their phones, something like that. The other thing that could happen is they see a massive block of text and they just start reading it. And if they start reading all this text on the screen, then they're not listening to you. And of course, the spotlight is on you. You want to be the person persuading them to be a part of your company. And if they're just reading the text, they're not going to be looking at you at all. They're going to be focusing on what is on the screen. and they're not going to get the message that you're trying to send.